Alright, so what we're going to be learning today is called the rational root theorem. And I'm going to try to go through and explain it. It's probably going to be confusing, but then we're going to do an example and it's probably going to get a little less confusing. So give it a little bit of time if you're not sure how it works. So we're going to use the rational root theorem. So to find rational roots, which are places where our graph crosses the crosses the x-axis that aren't imaginary. That's what we're going to work on. So a rational root theorem, if I have a polynomial, and it's going to look kind of like this. So in this polynomial, I have ax to the n plus bx to the n minus 1 plus whatever plus cx plus d. When I look at this, my ax to the n is my very first one, my leading term. So as an example, 2x to the 3 right here. That would be like ax to the n, where a and n are numbers. So in this one, a would be 2, n would be 3. And then, if I look at my very last one, which I'm going to call d, which in this problem down here would be 5, when I look at these, I can find rational roots by taking factors of my constant term, which is this d, if I factor that, and divide it by factors of my leading term, which is a, and if I plug those back into my equation, I can find zeros. Which is really confusing, I know, so we're going to do an example, because you're going to see how it works. What are factors of 5?
2 and 3. No.
1 and 5.
1 and 5, right?
Okay,
1 and
I
5.
was thinking of the kitchen.
Okay, and when we do factors, we are also going to do the negative versions. I'm also going to have -1, -5. What are factors of 2? 1 and 2. And when I do factors today, I'm also going to do negative versions. -1, -2. Okay. If I take all the factors of 5, and let's say I start with 1. If I start with 1 on top, and then I'm going to actually make basically a bunch of fractions. I'm going to start with 1 on top, then I'm going to put 1 underneath it. If I plug this 1 over 1 in for x, and I get 0, I know that 1 over 1 is a root. After I check 1 over 1, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to plug in 1 over 2 this next time. If I plug that in for x and I get 0, I know 1/2 is a root. I know my graph will cross our x-axis at 1/2. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to plug in 1 over -1 this time. And if I get 0 when I plug that in, I know it's a root. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to plug in 1 over -2. See if that works. And then I'm going to keep going, but this time I'm going to start with 5. If 5 over 1, if I plug that in and get 0, I know that's a root. Yes.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Do we have to go through
Yes.
all of these, or do we just go until we find the one that's a root?
Well, to start with yes, afterwards no.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
I told you this is going to be really annoying.
I don't even know.
So I'm going to start with 5 and put 1 on the bottom. Then I'm going to go 5 over 2 next. And I'm going to keep going and keep going. It's going to be really, really annoying. I might let you work in groups today, which I don't usually do.
Work in groups and there be no homework.
Actually, I think you're going to have 2 homework problems today.
Woo!
Maybe though, we'll see.
With like 5
Alright,
steps.
so I'm going to start here. Let me just make a little chart. So I had a 1, 5, -1, and 5, right? And then, actually, how was I going to do this?
With numbers?
Oh, that's right. Not bad. So, I'm going to put down everything I had going. So I had 1 over 1. I'm just going to list these things right here. I'm just going to list these things right here real quick. And I'm not going to list them all because there's a lot. I had 1 over 2, excuse me, 5 over 1, 5 over 2, and then I had, let's see, I forgot my negatives. The order you do these in doesn't matter. I had -1 over 1, -1 over 2, and we're going to keep going.
Probably -5, 1, and then -5, 2.
Then we go -5 over 1, -5 over 2, and then we're going to keep going. But let me just write these down again. I had, let me see, 1, 5, -1, -5 on top, right? That was my factors of D. And then I have 1, 2, -1, -2. Alright, so I've got all these so far. My next one would be -1 over 1. Don't I already have that? This actually should have been -1 over 1, but isn't that the exact same thing so far? I don't need to repeat it. Then I would do -1 over 2, which I have right here already. So after you do these, you kind of get repeats, and you don't have to do repeats. Then I have -1 over 1 is the same thing as, or excuse me, -1 over -1 is the same thing as 1 over 1. -1 over -2, same thing as 1 over 2.
You kind of sound like a bitter on that one.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. If I have -5 over 1, I've already got that right here. So basically, actually, let me make it a little easier. On the top one, you only need the positive versions. But the bottom one, you need positive and negatives. We'll make that easier. So let me go back to your notes real quick. For the top ones, you can only have positive. But for the bottom ones, you need positive and negative. That'll make it easier. So, because I forgot they repeat. Like I said, this one is super annoying. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these and we're going to plug them in for x and we're going to see what we get. So I'm going to start with 1 over 1, which is really just what?
1.
1. I'm going to plug in 1 for x and see what I get. So I'm going to go 2 times 1 to the third minus 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 5, and we're going to see what I get. If I get 0, I've gotten my answer. Because that means my graph crosses at whatever this number is. That's where it crosses the x-axis. So 1 to the third is 1, times 2 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. Is that 0?
No.
Nope, so we're going to keep going. This time, we're going to plug in 1/2. Yeah.
Where did you get the 1, 1, 1, 2?
Okay,
This
so,
part really confused me.
okay, so we are making a fraction. And on top, we're going to start with our factors of whatever our very last number on the end is.
Yeah.
Which is 5, right? My factors are 1 and 5. On the bottom, it's the factors of whatever my very first thing is, which is 1 and 2. But on the bottom one, we're also going to do the negatives. -1, -2.
So we're just making factors of the first and the last number.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then we have to do
Okay.
basically every combination.
Okay.
So, hang on, let me... So I did 1 over 1 over 2 over -1 over -2. I did 5 over 1 over 2 over -1 over -2. Or maybe here, so I don't have so many things. I did 1 over 1, and then over 2 over -1 over -2. Then I did 5 over 1 over 2 over -1 over -2.
Wait, where did you get the 1 from if your first number is 2?
What are the factors of 2? 2 and 1. What times 1 is 2? 2 times 1 is 2.
Yeah.
So those are my factors. That makes sense? Great. We'll keep practicing. Alright, so I'm going to have you guys help me out a little bit because there's a lot on here. So I did the first one. All you're doing is taking each one of these things and you're plugging it into the equation. So you guys are going to help me out. Alyssa, I want you to plug in 1/2 in for x in here. So when you plug it into decimals, yours is going to look like 2, 1/2 to the third minus 1/2 squared plus 2 times 1/2 plus 5. And you're going to plug that whole thing into decimals. You're going to tell me what you get. Maya, I want you to plug in 5 over 1.
What the?
So you're going to plug in 5 over 1 in here.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Carissa, I want you to do 5 over 2 into decimals. Raven, I want you to do -1 over 1.
Wouldn't that be like the same thing as 1 over 1 though? With the
No, because it's negative. -1 over +1. So you're going to get a different answer because of the third power there. Alright, Kayla, I want you to do -1 over 2. Jaden, I want you to do -5 over 2. Devin, I want you to do, Jaden, you're -5 over 1. Devin, you're -5 over 2. And you know what? We're going to have everybody repeat. Thomas, I want you to do 5 over 1, even though Alyssa's doing it too. I want you to practice. And Austin, I want you to do 5 over 2. So we're going to repeat a little bit. Did I say it?
Yes.
No, you'll do 1 over 2. This one's very important. You put your name right there.
1 over 2?
Yep, you're going to do 1/2.
Oh, I already have it all written out.
Alright, so you're going to plug it into Desmos with whatever number I gave you. And we're going to see what it equals. So hang on, if you've got it, good, write it down, and we're going to fill out the whole thing.
I was doing negative 1 over 2, right?
I think you're -5. What's your number? You're -5.
AB.
Minus.
Yeah,
No.
Dude, someone smells like
keep going. Keep her going.
Just like,
So like I told you before, this isn't super tough, it's just really, really
It
annoying.
doesn't equal
minty
8.
sometimes and then it's
Oh wait, no, that's a 0.
I had one.
Yeah, it's supposed to equal 0. This one, when I plugged in 1, I got 8 out of it. So we're seeing what it equals. We want it to be 0. If it's not 0, that's fine. It just means we don't have the right one yet.
Okay, I got my answer.
Okay, good. Sit tight, wait for everybody else. We're going to let everybody get a chance to plug theirs in.
No. I'm lost.
Okay. Let's
Where?
Okay. So you did the squared, and then it will be plus 2 parentheses. You guys can do
Definitely not 0. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Like you were saying something else, like.
We're just letting people finish off typing this in. And don't forget, you gotta keep going. Because we have plus 2, and then in parentheses, -1 over 1.
I almost don't this on Saturday.
Okay.
It really needs to go through that.
No.
I got the right answer. My answer.
Did you get 0?
No.
That's fine. It means yours didn't work.
I know, but
Yeah.
That means you were wrong.
Right now?
yeah, but this is supposed to be 0.
What?
No.
This is 0.
No, it just told me until you.
No,
You told me until you.
We want to find a 0. The one you plugged in is 0. So if you were doing this on your own, you would have got the same one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
2
I was thinking, I was like,
I was gonna say.
minus 5 over 1 squared plus 2
Wait, what?
5 over 1.
Like the round number.
Oh no, she has 1/2.
Oh, do I put equal?
Validated.
Alyssa, what number did you plug in for x?
1/2.
Yeah, she plugged in 1/2.
Wait, is it supposed to be that bigger number?
It doesn't matter.
I heard you.
What, you got a big number?
He plugged in a different one. He thought he did yours.
240.
I was talking hers.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do my.
Alright, anybody still typing theirs in?
yes.
Before C.
Okay, we'll keep taking time.
Look, I can.
Oh, you can go,
that
never mind.
he's done.
You're good.
Alright, Alyssa, what'd you get when you plugged yours in?
6. Now can I go?
No.
Go Clee.
Or Maya, what'd you get when you plugged yours in? 240. Carissa, you had 5 over 2, right?
Mhm.
What'd you get?
35.
35. Raven, you had -1 over 1, right?
Yeah.
What'd you get? 0.
Oh. Oh, 6.
Kayla, what'd you get?
3.5.
Jaden, what'd you get?
I'm still going.
Okay, we'll come back. Devin, what'd you get?
Negative 37.5.
Will you?
Alright. Jaden, let me know what you get when you're done.
Can I go now?
Someone has got 0.
No. We did get 0. Alright, which one of these got a 0?
-1 over 1.
-1 over 1. Or just -1, right?
No.
Oh, wait, 1.
Because -1 over 1 is -1, right?
No.
It is.
Wait, what?
Is that
You
what we're
just
doing?
go through
I go
and
now.
eliminate.
Yo.
Basically.
Can I go now?
No.
Champ.
How about now?
No.
So wait, so if we're just solving,
You're just
can we
wasting
just
time
start
now.
putting in random numbers so we find one?
No. Because maybe your answers are way off, or maybe they're decimals. See, that's the thing. This gives us a finite amount of numbers to do. So the reason we are using this rational root theorem, it's kind of like a guess and check, but we only have a certain amount we have to do. Sometimes you got like 15 or 20, which is a lot, but that is way better than just guessing random things. Because we haven't really learned how to do anything with 2x to the third minus x squared plus 2x plus 5. I can't factor by grouping because I will get different parentheses. I can't do difference of cubes or difference of squares. There's too many things in there. So what I have to use is my rational root theorem.
Can I go now?
No. Alright, so we're going to practice this.
You got off.
So, Jaden, what'd you get?
It is like negative
211.
272.
It's like or it is?
Is.
Because it's a little different. Alright, so we're going to practice this again on this next one. We're going to look at 3x to the third plus 7x squared plus 6x minus 8. So, I need to find my things to make my fraction on. So, I need to start by finding my factors of d. So, our d is the number on the end. We got d here at the end. We got a at the very beginning. What are my factors of 8, Kayla?
Yes.
What are my factors of 8?
Yeah, Carol.
Factors of 8 would be like 2 and 4.
Would be
Uh-huh.
8
2, 2, 2.
Negative 2. Negative 4.
2, 2, 2.
We have 2, 2, 2.
Negative 2, negative 4.
It would be 1.
And you're missing 2 of them.
2, 2.
8 and 1.
1 and 8.
1 and 8.
Negative 8 and 1.
Wait, we have to do all the factors possible?
Well, okay, let me rephrase. One of them can be only positive, one has to be positive and negative. It doesn't matter which one. I don't care. Because it's going to be the same either way. So Kayla gave me the positives and the negatives, which is fine. That's
Wait,
fine.
so we could do 2, 4 and then negative 8, negative 1? Is that what you're saying or no?
You need positive and negatives on one of these lines, so it doesn't matter which one. So the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8, right? We are also going to do the negatives on the top line.
50.
We could do it on the bottom line, it doesn't matter.
I don't know what you're saying.
Alright, so what are my factors of 3?
1,
3 and
1 and 3, right? Because I already did negatives, I don't need to do negatives a second time, so that's it. Alright, so I need to go through and I need to list my factors. So I have 2 over 1, 2 over 3. 2 over 1, 2 over 3.
So it's
I have 4 over 1, 4 over 3. And I'm going to keep going. Negative 2 over 1, negative 2 over 3, negative 4 over 1, negative 4 over 3, 1 over 1, 1 over 3, and we're going to keep going, it's really annoying. 8 over 1,
Do we have to do all
8
of
over
those?
3, yes you do.
Okay.
Negative 8 over 1,
3.
negative 8 over 3,
Whoa.
negative 1 over 1, and negative 1 over 3.
You guys get it.
You can go off
The
of
3 is
number
the
like
first
that.
number.
Yep, 3 is the first number. What?
Yeah, okay. Well, how
That's
did you get
stupid 1 right there.
that
How did
1
you
and 3?
get it?
Didn't you say
What times what is 3?
1?
And
3.
3.
Wait, okay. Oh, never mind, never mind,
The
never
3
mind.
is the
Never mind.
first
From
number. How did you get the stupid 1?
One's always
Because
a factor.
one
Yeah,
goes
1
to
is always a
3.
factor.
I was just confused at where you got the 3 from
Oh.
for a second. But I
Because what times what is 3? 1 times 3.
Okay.
That's where you got it.
7.
It's really annoying. I told you, this isn't tough. It's annoying.
So we do all of those.
So you would have to do all of these and plug them all in
Go.
right here.
Oh
Just
my
get
god,
zero.
I'm not
Do you have to
doing it.
go?
Why do we have to use all the
Tell-
factors?
Do you have to do all of them, or can you just
Yes.
go until you find 0?
Yeah, can we just go till we find
That
0?
depends on how nice I'm feeling. Right now, I'm feeling pretty mean.
This math sound.
Okay.
This, unless
What-
it's
Okay, I'm going to show you guys a shortcut. Get Desmos.
I'm on this.
We've been there forever.
Okay,
Forever.
alright.
Oh,
I'm going to get Desmos going here. Let me flip it so James and Dazen and Ome can see what we're doing. Okay, so in my first line in Desmos, I'm going to type in, what we're going to do is we're going to type in that equation. We're going to type in 3x to the third plus 7x squared plus 6x minus 8. And then in another line, I'm going to type in what I want x to equal. So it's going to be a shortcut. So here, in your first line, what I want you to type in is x, and then I just want you to type the number 1. So it'll be like x and then tiny 1.
how do you do that?
You just type in 1, the number 1. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Oh my god.
Whoa, that's kind of cool.
That did not do that for me. Just type in the number 1.
So x and then the number 1.
Oh.
Yep. So you're going to type in just x1, and then you're going to type in equals. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in whatever we're going to plug in for x in here, but not yet. We're going to still get it set up. Okay?
Oh.
And then in my next line, I'm going to type in my equation. My 3x to the third plus 7x squared plus 6x minus 8. Except every time I type in an x, we're going to type in a 1 after it.
2.
So it's going to look like 3x1 to the third.
Negative 2, negative.
So we're going to go 3x1, and then I'm going to go to the third power. So it's going to look weird. It's going to look a little weird. 3x1 to the third. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of weird. But Desmos, we need to do x1 and x1. We can't just do x. It's annoying.
I go now.
Do we put an equal sign in that one too?
No.
We're
So-
doing the equation
no.
now.
We're doing the whole equation. So I have 3x1 to the third. Then I'm going to go plus 7x squared.
1.
But I'm going to go plus 7x1 squared. And then plus 6x1
It's so much.
plus 6x1. And then, oh, what's my last one?
-8.
-8. Alright. So right now it's not going to show anything because I haven't made x1 equals anything. So I want everybody to have this typed in. I want everybody to have it typed in because I want to make sure you know how to do this.
-3. 9.
Okay, you got me
2000.
so freaking
Okay,
close.
we're going to make sure everybody has this
I don't
typed
know the
in.
number yet.
I think it's you, Kiel.
56.
7,
You're gonna hate me, but is it Kiel or Kiel?
technically it's pronounced kale.
I always call you Kiel.
I don't
I
like
mean, like, I don't feel that bad about
I
it. but
call her
was just wondering.
Kiola.
I go by
You
several.
call it 6 different things, honestly.
So I want to make sure everybody has this in.
Several
Jaden
things.
has it. Jaden's
Only 3.
Jane's a little weird for referring to himself in the third person. But
Okay,
Somebody type in this
now.
Close enough.
you're just going to go
my little
x1,
sister-
and then you type in your x1s to the
Oh wait, no, it's an ostrich. He's the
plus
ostrich.
7,
Oh wait, you said 2x.
1
Dude, it'd be cool to have
6
an ostrich. No, peacock.
squared.
A male peacock.
Plus
Is that pretty good?
6. And then
I wonder if that sounds
minus 8. Good job. Okay. So everybody got this typed in? Anybody still working on it? I'm gonna take that as a no. All right. The very first thing I'm gonna plug in is 2/1, right? In Desmos, where it says x1 equals, I'm gonna go 2/1. And this is really nice because if I plug in 2/1 for x1 up top, it automatically calculates it down here. When I plugged in 2/1, I got 56. I don't have to keep deleting x. I can just change this part up here. Did I get 0?
No.
So I gotta keep going. So the next one I'm gonna do, so 2/1 didn't work, I'm gonna cross it out. 2/3. So I'm gonna delete this and go,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm gonna go
I'm
over
so
3.
confused at how it gave you a number because
Nope.
mine is not doing this. Oh.
Right. So I plugged in 2/3 and hey, I get 0. I know that this is one of my answers, so I'm gonna circle it.
Damn, that's
Wait,
I really like that one.
2/3.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't get. Oh, there we go. I was looking at the wrong one. Now I'm like. Shut
Okay, my next one is 4/1.
You're gonna make us do all of them?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no,
nope.
no. Why
I'll
are we
fire it
still
up.
going? We already got to
Yeah, we already.
We're gonna find them all.
Oh,
4/1 doesn't work.
Oh.
we
4/1
already know
doesn't
all
work.
of them.
Alright, next is 4/3.
You can just cross them out and say it don't work.
4/3. Nope, 4/3 didn't work.
Is there gonna be one that's
Negative
more
2/1 is
than
next.
or what?
What?
Ah,
I got 0 by guessing too, by the way.
Negative 2 divided by 1. You got lucky. And I got negative 16. Negative 2/1 didn't work. Alright, I want you to finish these off.
Go,
I
Creed.
want you to find the rest of the zeros. Did you do all of them?
Yes.
Is that like an exit or in class?
Is it
No, it's in class. It's in class.
Okay, then
Find the rest of them.
I'm not doing
Find the
Wait,
rest.
You know how you got 2, 4, negative 2?
It's the only one that
Those?
Yeah.
Do they have to be the same?
What do you mean?
Walmart.
Do we have to use all the factors?
Yes, all of them.
Why?
Because maybe it crosses on the negative side.
Okay, what you should
Maybe it
do.
doesn't.
It does though. So you gotta check them all. So you gotta go through and check all of them. It's really in the lane. I told you that to start.
Oh, wrong. We already know that they're all wrong.
Yeah, I
You already
should.
did.
I finally get our
And you
numbers.
good?
You know how it was working on yours?
I'm sorry.
Just write that next one.
2, 1.
So that X.
Here.
I hate you so
Oh.
much.
I go.
I love this. There's only
Yeah, what's up, boy?
I have a question. I'm confused about everything after this part.
1, 2, 2.
You're trying the A class? Work on this one.
4.
What?
Work on this one.
Oh yeah. No, I don't want to do all of those.
Oh,
Goldie.
two down.
1.
I'm just gonna require myself to save, and it's all your fault.
No, man.
Okay, wait. I don't even know
Oh,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
there. Yeah.
This is so confusing.
I feel you.
No, to try
You have to write out all the answers for each one.
None of them. Oh,
No, I'm writing down all the numbers.
Yes, we know none of them else equals 0, but he's still making us do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm super fun.
Well,
You're
you
getting
guys
so
finish
much
it?
practice. So
Two.
much.
2, 3. Okay, 8, 1.
Because I want you to actually practice doing this.
8 and 3.
Yeah, but we know.
Okay, you're good.
I'm more.
If you have a job and you have an easy route, aren't you going to take the easy route?
Well, I am. That's why I'm making you guys do this, and I'm doing it easy.
Can I go now?
There's some other way to do this.
Can I go now?
Yeah, there's always.
There's always, no matter what it is, there's another way.
Can I go now?
Well, yeah, you could graph it, I guess, but I'm not letting you.
Golf training.
No.
Wouldn't that take longer?
Okay.
3.
Oh, damn. So grumpy.
Can I just start
I
where
think
you
you need
left
to go
off?
to the
Yeah.
bathroom. You just let me go.
All right, I'll be nice. What other answers did you get?
None.
None.
Now can I go?
There's only one.
Yes, we know this. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
You missed negative 1 over 3.
That's fine.
No.
All right. You guys ready to
Nothing
try one
happened.
completely on your own?
Nothing
No.
happened.
I
It's
don't
All
crazy.
right, you can work with the partner then.
I want to try
This
one.
screen is still
We should do
crazy.
our own, but I need
All right,
help. on
so-
our own.
I want you to find just one.
Oh.
Only one this time. Only one.
What?
15x to the third minus 32x squared plus 3x plus 2. So remember, the first thing is you get your two factors. And that gets you your fractions to plug in. And then when you plug them into Desmos, don't forget to change this equation around. Change that equation around to be your new equation, your 15x to the third and so on.
So wait,
And don't forget, every time you put an x, you gotta type in a 1 right after it.
does this look good?
X1, X1, X1.
Because, yeah.
I'm writing this one.
1, 2, you forgot 1 and 15 on the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah.
What, so what factors are we doing?
So D is the number on the end. What time was 2?
Yeah.
Wait, D is the number on the end, too.
Shoot.
Okay. And are you going to do the negatives on that one or on the bottom one?
Shut up.
Plus 3
I'll be doing
plus
that.
What's A, 15?
2.
Okay, so you got 1 and 2, right? And then we have a negative 1, negative 2.
Oh, I found it the first one. Alright.
Alright, for A, what times 1 is 15?
That was.
15 and 1. What do you need to put the negatives on that one, right?
Nope, as long as you only got it on 1, you're fine.
See, if it was just like this, I'd be fine. What are the odds of me finding it the first one?
Wait, there's only 4 things, 4 solutions? And 4 meanings for D?
Yeah. 1, 2,
You'll have
negative 1,
16
negative 2.
fractions.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, for D, there's only 4.
Okay, why is D number 2 on this one, but last time, wait, okay, never mind.
Because D is always the last number before it equals 0.
I don't like this.
A is always the first number before it equals before it's X. So
I don't
Mhm.
would it be like
And there are
2,
actually
3, and
3
5?
answers. So you actually have a
What?
not too difficult. You only have to find 1.
I'm
There's
just
actually
switching
3.
my answers.
Wait,
That's the part, right?
wait. My brain's so much.
Yeah, we got there. We got there.
I kind of want to find the other one.
3, yep. And then one of them was 1. There's only 2.
Oh my
And you do
god.
negative
Big
1.
eraser.
Then you negative 2. You only have to find 1.
Oh, wait.
Maybe you get lucky and get it the first time.
Like me.
Yeah.
Is this
Would
right?
it be 3 times? So could you have more than 2 numbers for A?
So what?
You have 3, 5, and 1,
Which one is
15,
it?
right?
I found the other one.
Did you tie your 2 to your
No.
So how much was that?
Yeah, I totally tied my boot this thing. No, I was working on something.
We just do it for D, right?
Yeah,
Like on
I really do make sure I look like today.
Yeah, I do.
Cool. Good time.
Found the other one. How many did you say there was, Goki?
Keep you from running out of math. There are
Wait,
3 answers.
Is it gonna be
I found them all.
x1
There's 3
cubed?
different answers.
There are 3. You only have to find one.
I found them all. I want extra credit now.
2
Uh,
over 3.
1 and 15. You only have to have the negatives on one of them.
Oh, so I don't have to.
3.
This is too much for my soul.
I actually kind of like this.
No. There's so many more negatives on the bottom one.
It's going to be the same anyway.
This is so sad. Just the pain in my chest.
So,
What?
this is,
Okay.
A is only just 1 in 15.
And 3 and 5.
Oh, 1 in 15.
Yeah.
But
So
I
he's
don't-
going to have 4 things.
And then we put the negatives on there, right, too?
We have to use synthetic
Only
division.
on one line.
Okay,
So,
so,
that's fine.
okay,
You're good.
so I
You're good. So you can start.
And the negative
So
is
1 over 1, 1 over negative 1,
2.
1 over 3, 1 over negative 3, and keep going. Just keep on
So I
going.
gotta go 2 over 5, 2 over 3, 2 over negative
Yeah. It's super fun. Wait,
5.
Goki.
I can do it. I believe.
So I did backwards. I did 50. Yeah, totally right. So just 5 over 2. Yeah. So, very 2 over 5. So very fun. So flip these around. Yeah.
wait. No.
We're doing synthetic
We do
division
equal
with this.
0 at the end?
We might, or I might just have you practice finding these.
No, we don't.
We'll see how I'm feeling.
That's fine.
Okay, just do some practice because this is too much to my brain.
Oh no, I'm just
Always
looking.
wanted
It's really bad.
This is so easy.
1 over 3. And then there's 2 over 1. And then there was negative 1 over
Yeah,
5. I found them all 3.
I'm gonna do.
Already have two.
I think it's put them on upside down. So
Oh,
I
yeah, you
I
will find
can
it
find
as that
like
way.
two. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Those work.
That's not gonna last.
Shut up.
Put down some of your fractions.
Wait, are you sure there's more than? Are you sure there's only 3?
I feel stupid
There's
again.
probably more. I don't know.
Don't say nothing.
You
Because
said
I
it was
just
only
got
3.
another one.
What numbers?
Oh wait, no, never mind. It's not negative.
Gotta check all 20.
No,
Carissa.
gotta
He'll
check.
probably
it.
stay in
No,
today.
we already did
Is that
it.
what he said?
What'd you get?
Did he say
Except
we
for
stay
there's
in
only
today?
16 possible answers.
Oh, yeah, because we got
We used to do
stated
this.
shit. Oh, I hate stating.
No, I'm not gonna stay in because I gotta get into it.
Wait, we only gotta find one answer, right?
You only have to find one.
I don't think we're
Well,
stating,
when I
we're
can
just
find
stating.
one,
Only have to find one.
I found 3.
Oh, good.
Well, this is the expert dish. You can do this problem.
So we'll have some people
Can I
give
go
me some
now?
answers here in a minute. No.
Some
Can I
people.
go now? Go.
What is
Get the
this?
answer.
No.
I did the work.
No.
I did it.
Did you? All right. What's one answer you got?
Blankets probably can say.
What do I say? Like 1/3?
Kid
Yeah.
was sick.
Okay.
All right. 1 over 3 is an answer. 1 over 3.
1 over 3.
1 over 3. 1/3 is an answer. What's another answer?
2 over 1.
Negative 1.
2 over 1, which is really just 2, right?
I said 4, but
No.
All right. Thomas, what's your other answer?
Negative 1 over 5.
What did I
What?
just say?
I was asking him.
Oh.
Those are our 3 answers. So we have 3 answers. 1 over 3, 2, negative 1 over 5.
Now can I go?
No.
Ah! Okay, go in class.
We're not gonna have any time.
Let me think.
Wait, how is just 2? Oh wait,
It's
2 over
2:10. We
2
don't
over
have
1.
our homework yet.
Yeah, 2 over 1, which is really just 2.
If you're adding on
This
more
doesn't
work
even go
to
to
these, I'm gonna cry.
Well, I was just gonna have you find one and then divide it out with synthetic division.
Oh my god,
Okay, I
I'm
wasn't
gonna
here
cry.
for that.
That's true.
One step at a time. We'll be one
Oh,
step at a
we'll
time.
just have you guys practice the rational root theorem.
Yes.
Can we just go to homework?
I finally am starting to understand this.
Okay,
Please
so
don't make
the
up.
reason we do this is if we find one, we can divide it out with synthetic division and get something easier. But I'm just gonna have you guys practice rational root theorem for today. And let's do,
Exit ticket.
I want you to find all roots.
Why just one?
So there's more than one?
Find all roots if there's more than one. I actually don't remember.
I go now.
Okay.
After you do the X ticket.
Go for it.
Wait, isn't this the exit ticket?
Just let me go now.
Yeah, just do exit ticket.
Do the X ticket. But you can
No,
go.
that's gonna take 10 years.
Guess you better start now, huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
I go now.
No.
Please.
You know, if you actually did this and didn't complain, you'd probably be done.
I did the other one.